I'm a DJ boy, going to Dcentral, making NFT from the DeFi, being crypto poor but JPay rich.
What's going on, everyone? Good lunch? All right. I'm really excited about this panel. It's a really important topic, and we have some industry leaders here to talk about Web3 security. Let's welcome to the stage Jacquin, Kosala, and Monier. Come on up, guys. So it's been a pretty exciting year, guys, when it comes to Web3 and security. I think if you're in this space, you've definitely rode a few roller coasters, and if you're building this space, I'm sure that's the case as well. So we want to get to the bottom of what's what with the trends in Web3 security and how it's evolving in the space and what kind of infrastructure you need as both a consumer and a builder in the space to be buttoned up and bulletproof, if that's even possible. But we'll figure that out today. But to start, I'd love it if you guys could each introduce yourself and what role you play when it comes to Web3 security. Let's start with you, Kosala.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. So I'm Kosala Hemachandra, founder and CEO of MyEtherWallet. Most of you might know us as the leading Ethereum wallet interface. We started off with that and then eventually grew our umbrella to education, which is Utopia.com, and Blockchain Explorer, ETHVM.com, and multiple other products. When it comes to security, I feel like we play a major role in, especially in Ethereum ecosystem, because as one of the leading wallet services, we do get lot of vulnerabilities before it even hits the public. So before it hits the public, we usually solve all of them before, and then do a release and then disclose the vulnerability. Things like that.
Thanks for that. Appreciate you rescuing us from some of that stuff that we don't want.
You're always welcome.
And Monier, what about you?
Thank you. Is this on? Oh, it is. Yeah, so Monier Jalal, VP of Marketing at CertiK. If you don't know who CertiK is, if you walk out that door, you'll see a big booth right there.
Everyone knows who CertiK is.
That's what I'm trying to joke with. Everybody knows who CertiK is. So yeah, just as a quick explanation, we do blockchain Web3 security. We do a lot of things from auditing to on-chain monitoring, KYC. So we're trying to provide all things Web3 security. Great being here. Thank you.
Jacquin.
Yeah, so I'm Jacquin. I'm a software engineer at Kadena, where I work mostly on the Chainweaver wallet experience and developer tooling. For those of you that don't know, Kadena is the world's only scalable proof-of-work blockchain. It utilizes a hashed braid consensus algorithm called Chainweb, and on top of that, we have what I can only describe as a safety-oriented language called, smart contract language called Pact. So if you haven't, if you're a builder out there and you haven't checked Pact out, I would encourage you to definitely give it a try.
Right on, guys. Well, look, it's been a titillating year when it comes to Web3 hacks. Some of you may have been at NFTLA, which we hosted, where the very first talk, Geo came out and shared that the previous night he had been, Axie had been hacked for $625 million, and there's a lot of headlines like that. So I'd love to get the scoop on what's really been happening in the world of hacks and fraud and trends. Is it going up? Is it getting down? Are we making progress and inroads here? Does anyone want to start with sort of giving us a little bit of what's really going on the inside when it comes to security?
Sure. I'll open it up. So where do I start here? I mean, last year, this is how profound it is. Total loss of crypto due to hacks, $1.3 billion. It's June, and we're up at $1.76 billion of loss. That's just profound. Is it getting worse? It is. Is security important? Very important. CertiK looks across the board on all types of hacks, exit scams, flash loan attacks, and we monitor this a lot, and we're seeing a good amount that is trending We came up with, obviously, the Axie hack is an important one. Bridges are, at the start of this year were hacked. About $1 billion across 3 bridges. I think a lot of it's to do with new technology, new infrastructure coming in, and the opportunity for hackers to take advantage of that and exfiltrate and take funds. So, security is important. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, I mean, not amazing for hacks, but I was going to touch up on that insane over $1 billion loss just in crypto and Web3. Another hack that basically recently happened was one of the Bored Apes Discord account got hacked, and they lost some of the Bored Apes and 140 ETH or something. And this just happened 2 days ago. So it's still happening, it's still going on, and all we can do is improve our security, learn more, educate our users so that we can prevent this from happening in the future.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue to a deeper conversation about how we do that. But I guess before we do, on the other side of trends is the investment side. And I am curious, guys, if you could speak to the investments being made in security. One would assume that those investments are on the upspend and that people are spending more of their percentage of a budget on security to sort of fight this trend.
Yeah, so while the industry has definitely matured over the past couple of years, it still does feel like every couple of weeks there's a multi-million-dollar hack that we read about. At Kadena, we're very big fans of rec.news, the website that details a lot of these bugs and security vulnerabilities. And we made our own site called Saved by Kadena. So if you go to savedby.kadena.network, you can read about how a lot of these different vulnerabilities and hacks could have been prevented using our smart contract language pact. In many cases, some of the bugs are actually impossible to write with our language pact, and in other cases it would have taken just a couple of small lines of our built-in formal verification system to have detected some of these. So as a builder, I gotta say, it makes such a big difference when you're building on an ecosystem or on top of an ecosystem with tooling that actively supports you, with tools that have been built from the ground up to detect a lot of these things. I like to say that when you go packed, you don't go back. So again, if you're a builder, definitely check out the Kadena ecosystem and the packed smart contract language.
Right on. Well, this is a pretty cool stage. I feel like it's a starship of sorts. So let's sort of take this starship 5 years forward or plus, right? At this point, metaverse adoption is real. We've got Internet of Things on overdrive, machines talking to machines, building things together. Life is good. Yep. How did we get here from an IT security perspective, Kosala, and what problems did we solve along the way?
Yeah, definitely 5 to 10 years from now, I would like to solve the onboarding process. So that's one of the key or most complicated process to get into the space, and then one of the steps where most of these hackers or abusers of the technology attack the users. So hopefully by that time we'll have biometrics. For example, you can use your eyes or fingerprint to access the wallet instead of trying to remember the private keys, and a lot of things needs to happen in order to achieve this. So plus I would like to have some kind of quantum proof cryptography, because in 10 years from now there will be quantum computers, and then all existing blockchains, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm mainly talking about Ethereum as of now. So existing blockchains are vulnerable to quantum attacks. So that needs to change. So that's one of the big things. And we do talk about dApps all the time, but if you actually look at a dApp and you are navigating to a Web2 site, so that means all the attack vectors that are included in Web2, you are vulnerable to all of them if it's hosted on .com, .org, or .finance, right? So that needs to change. We have to host our website on the decentralized web. Yeah, those are some of the things that I want to see change.
Very cool. And Monier, you have an interesting view at CertiK in terms of the Web2 companies that are trying to enter this space, and I'm just kind of curious, are you all actively supporting that bridge building? Are these companies coming at you, or are you sort of approaching them, or a little bit of both? And what is the security education hurdles that you're trying to overcome there?
No, it is different. If you look at Web2, companies coming from that world appreciate, understand the types of security issues that they face, whether it be phishing attacks, whether it be takeovers, credential loss, and then they're entering a Web3 world where the vulnerabilities are different, even the types of attacks are different.
The language is different, it sounds like.
The languages are different as well. The good thing about it is that we're able to see this evolution. We're able to expand the services that we have. In actual fact, we support pen testing of a part of our services, which is primarily a Web2 thing. And so from a marketing perspective, we're educating about what these types of attacks look like. And we're also talking about and bridging clients that come to us who want to move into an NFT version or transacting using Web2 to Web3, and educating them about how to be secure, what they're going to be up against, the issues that they face. So, and that's a natural evolution. It's how consumers are evolving and wanting to transact into crypto is forcing Web2 companies to have to think about how to bridge to Web3. And so, we are getting a lot of clients coming to us with great opportunity to educate them about how to make that transition.
And are you actively reaching out to them as well in terms of your marketing side?
I think it wouldn't be a lack of opportunity if we wouldn't do that, because I think there is great opportunity where we do see companies that want to get into that evolution space, and so we do approach them and do that security consultation of how do they make that transition over to Web3.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the NFT side of the house more so, but I think about all the big brands that want to get into the metaverse and whatnot, and it has to be top of mind for them, to make those waves, especially if they're publicly traded companies. It's a whole other level.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of the financials are making that leap because they know their consumers are demanding it, and so they're wanting to bring in, crypto wallets, being able to transact across blockchains. It's an erosion that they get left behind if they don't do it, so they have to do it. And so, from our perspective, we're looking in and seeing that natural evolution needing to happen, and we're approaching those financial companies and saying, hey, you need to make a transition, so here's how you do it, and here's how we can help you.
Right on. Well, we talked about the attacks from a wallet infrastructure perspective and sort of that side of the house. I got a really awesome NFT drained out of my wallet in the process of buying some land recently. I think you all can guess what land I was going after. It turned out it was a roller coaster of a day. It turned out okay in the end because I got a really good piece of land. But anyone outside of this industry would have looked at what happened to me and been aghast, right? And so I'm just kind of curious, is the solution to problems like that where your wallet gets drained, is it about having compartments in your wallet, or about having separate wallets for all your different NFTs? Is that along the lines of the type of innovation being done, or besides just user education and my own tomfoolery, what can we do there to help people prevent these types of attacks?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would like to take a step back because security in wallet is such an abstract concept, mainly because it affects different people differently. For general public, right? If you look at centralized banks, if you have $10,000, $50,000, even $99,000, you are protected by the bank up to $100,000, right? So that's having a bank account is a pretty good, a pretty secure way. I'm talking about from a centralized perspective. But for someone who has $10 million, that might not be the best way. They might have to over-insure their funds to make sure that's the case. But like if you have $10 billion in liquid cash, right, you probably want to build a fortress to secure that. So security affects different people differently. And usually the owner of these funds are the weakest link. So meaning, I know you said aside from education, so the only way to make this weakest link strong is educating the users. And then once you do that, the next step comes in where your funds are actually hosted. Like this is like, mostly for this audience, this is already solved because funds are actually in the blockchain and it's cryptographically protected and immutable. So that means you don't have to worry about that part. But the part that you have to worry about, how are you accessing it? Meaning like what wallet solution do you use? What extension do you use? What dApps do you use? So that's like one of the main gateways for these hackers to get in. So it comes down to, again, educating and then also understanding what steps you are doing to your wallet. And that could be, and then yeah, having separate wallets in that case will help you make that process easy because now you know, okay, if something happening to this wallet, I have to be careful because this is where my valuable NFT is. Like if someone's trying to like access where you have your USDT or USDC, you're like, why are they trying to access this wallet? Because I'm only using this for USDC transactions, and then this dApp does not require me to do anything with USDC. So things like that. So it all comes down to education.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I could have set up 40 different wallets for 40 different ecosystem NFTs. That takes a lot of time and energy, and you know, I guess I could have done that.
It's one solution, yeah.
But what else? Is there anything else coming that folks can look forward to that might help in situations like this?
I think I look at this problem, it's kind of trifecta. It's education, simplicity in user experience, and my favorite topic, security. And you have to balance across these three. You're dealing with people who want to transact, but they want to do it in an easy way. May not in some ways want to put in, 12 phrases to get into their wallet, right? But they do want security, and so security has to be built in. It needs to be stitched in. It needs to be made easier so you can transact. And then there's levels of education needs to be made where you do want to let people know the impact of security, and if you're not doing it the right way, the impact. And so I think it's a balance between those three. I don't think it's necessarily saying, go out and put NFTs across all these wallets. It's giving people choice. It's giving people the flexibility and also educating them about the impact at the same time if they don't do it the right way.
Yeah, I think education is definitely a big part of the equation. I also think that you just have to make it easier for builders and for devs and for wallet designers to make it so that they can introspect the code on the chain, which Pact does, and allow users to be able to make their own decisions about whether something is safe or not. One of the features that Pact offers is a robust capability system based on capability theory, which basically allows you to summarize all of the major events that are occurring in a contract, which is super useful if a particular contract is interacting with other contracts. So perhaps you're using a faulty swap dApp, and it's trying to drain your token. And in order to sign off on that transaction, I would have to explicitly sign that I am sending all my tokens from my particular account to the scammy account, even though that particular call is not at the top level or even in the particular smart contract that I'm calling.
Well, let's go a little deeper there on the building side. We've got a lot of builders here. I've already met since getting here this morning. Shout out to these guys for bringing a lot of us together. But let's paint a picture of what you need as a builder, as a CEO, in terms of structuring your organization to prepare for Web3 security. What are the roles? What are the tools that are needed? And I think it's worth touching on that it's not just about internal security. It's about alerting your community to external frauds too, right? Like I've already had several versions of imposter edge of NFT accounts out there. They pop up on Facebook a lot, offering to do like ETH trades with people and all sorts of fun stuff that we don't do. So I'm just curious if you could speak to what folks here need to think about in terms of putting together the right team and tools for success.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a tricky question to solve, but I think Pact provides a number of features that help nip this in the butt at the smart contract level. We discussed the capability system already, but also having code that is introspectable, that's stored on chain as a human readable format, and then being able to, as a wallet developer, run formal verification programs on that, allowing the user to be able to read exactly what they're executing. And then the third big mitigating factor there in terms of spoofing is we have something, an internal or a native system called a namespace system. And basically, if you're a builder and you have a project on Kadena, you can apply for what will eventually be a DAO-based process, get basically a prefix to your contract name, such that whenever you go to call that smart contract, you as a user will be able to see, oh, I'm calling this KDX.swap, so I can see that it is the officially approved KDX contract that I'm interacting with and not some scam contract.
That's helpful. Do you guys have any other thoughts on who people should be hiring? What the different sort of organizational tiers are for a company in this space versus a typical Web2 company?
I think, yeah, I can add to that for sure. If I just said, go get an audit, that would just not be enough, right? I think, think it's about education and having the right people inside the organization, ones who understand how to, code securely, being able to have people do the right code reviews, implement right secure specifications, doing all that way earlier than doing an audit, for example. Even having someone like a blue team who are independent, who actually come in and look at what the threat model looks like on what you're about to put together and launch. So there's a good amount that needs to be happening in that level of organization, but there's also a good amount of education about how to do things in a secure way, how to develop in a secure way that starts way early in the life cycle.
Yeah, to add some statistics about like MyEtherWallet to that question, our main attack vector is like phishing sites, because there are a ton of phishing sites. And just to give you guys a number, it's around 200 websites a month. So there are people who basically full-time job is creating these phishing sites and mimicking to be popular dApps, or like MyEtherWallet in our case. And we have two companies that are actually monitoring domain registrations that are similar to MyEtherWallet.com. And the moment that a website similar to MyEtherWallet.com goes live, we take it down within like 10 to like maximum 60 minutes. So those are some like active precautions or like active ways of preventing it from reaching the public.
That's really great. Well, I've learned a lot, guys, and I hope those in the audience have as well. And we're taking some notes on some of these really cool tools and whatnot. Any final thoughts that each of you would like to share about security and where things are going?
I think security-wise, we are definitely going in the right direction. It's not going to be, oh, we are going to solve security tomorrow. That's not how it's going to be. Even when Web 1 or Web 2 came out, they had a ton of issues with SSL certificates, and then Chrome just made it mandatory like a year ago, if I'm not mistaken. And it says, now if you don't have SSL certificate, it says unsecure, but up until then, everyone's like, oh, it's still okay, it's a website. So things like that, it'll take time, but I believe we are in the right direction. That means like infrastructure providers and like developers, coders who create these programming languages, they have to be extra careful in putting out proper battle-tested, validated code out, and that's a process that'll take some time.
Monier, besides getting an audit, any other thoughts?
Let me see. If I think back 5 years ago and when people just considered audit a nice to have, right? And probably we're trying to spell audit. And now where we are today, it's such a big shift. It's moved from just nice to have to mandatory. And what's caused that is just the profound amount of loss and hacks. People are realizing, I don't want to be all over the tabloids. I want to launch, I want to be successful. I don't want to be that company that just got hacked. And what's making this more complex is as we build, we put in new infrastructure, new technology, it's more threat landscape for hackers to take advantage. And that's why we're seeing so much more hacks out there today. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer when you think about, and I have to put in the plug-in for audit again, is if you're no-brainer, think about the cost of an audit compared to the impact of, you know, a project that didn't audit and a hack, way bigger. So yeah, I leave you with that. I mean, it's just a mandatory thing.
So what I hear is the more disruptive, the more innovative, the more interoperable, the more convergence of technology, watch your back.
Exactly, yep, absolutely.
And Jacquin?
Yeah, the industry has definitely come a long way, and I think we have a lot more to go. I think PACT is a great step in that direction. I think it's a sanity-driven development. I would encourage any builders out there to take a look at it. Yeah, I think we are slowly moving in the correct direction. I think education is going to be definitely a big part as well. Yeah.
Right on. Well, guys, I would love to let everyone know where they can learn more about your company and track what you're up to. If you could share your deets quickly. Let's start with you, Kosala.
Yeah. So our main media point of reach is Twitter. So MyEtherWallet @MyEtherWallet, and make sure you see the verified sign because there are a ton of like fake accounts out there. And if you want to learn more about blockchain in general, mutopia.com is our educational wing.
So CertiK.com, go check us out. You'll see a leaderboard of thousands, there are like 4,000 plus now projects audited. We do KYC, on-chain monitoring, auditing. Check us out there or come talk to us. We're right outside the door.
Yeah, you can find us at Kadena.io. We also have a Twitter, Kadena-io, and we have a great Discord with tons of builders hanging out. Come ask questions. And then we also recently announced an arm of Kadena called Kadena Eco that recently committed $100 million in grants to builders building on Kadena. So come check that out. And then 10% of that has been pledged to people recently affected by the Terra Luna situation. So if you're building on them as well, definitely reach out. We'd love to hear about your project.
Cool. And I'm Josh Kriger. You can find Edge of NFT, which is our podcast, at Edge of NFT on Twitter or edgeofnft.com. We've had about 150 amazing conversations with leaders in the space like these gentlemen. You know, everything from music to security to entertainment to gaming. We love to cover all the fascinating things happening in the space. And we have a conference each year called NFT LA, which is going to be in April of 2023. And you can go to @NFTLA Live or NFTLA.live. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks, guys.